Hey guys, what's up? So, today, this particular topic actually just crossed my mind, and I figured I would do a video on it. And it's kind of a topic that I've sort of been interested in, but have never really known how to address or even thought of making a video on. But that is the term token, Now, this term can mean a few different things, but it really depends on the context in which it's being applied to. But I want to talk about token in the political sense, or as it's applied to politics. Now, if you are into that kind of thing, you probably have heard that phrase thrown around a few times, typically as it applies to a minority group, someone who is a person who's black or gay or transgender or even women. Basically, like I said, basically a minority group. And they'll basically... And typically, from what I've noticed, it comes from SJWs and leftists who like to say that basically anyone who is right-leaning or Republican or conservative or, libertarian or even like classical liberals who have become disenchanted with, contemporary liberalism and stuff like that, or what liberalism has become, they'll be like, well, that side, they just have their token gay person and their token black person to speak for them and everything to make themselves feel better. Typically, that's what you'll hear. Maybe not those exact words, but that's essentially what you'll hear. Perfect example of this is Blair White. Now, Blair White blew up about 3-4 years ago, and when she started talking about, things like being transgender and the number of genders that there are, and when she started, speaking about feminism and opening up about her views more and everything, you saw all of these leftist social justice warrior trans people like Zinnia Jones, Cat Black, ContraPoints, Milo Stewart, Riley Dennis, and other people who aren't trans, of course, as well, but basically, most noticeably, these leftist trans people who were quick to insult her, say that she was transphobic, that she was even a walking trans genocide, in the words of Milo Stewart, because Blair dared to say that if there was actually a cure for gender dysphoria, then she would actually not be against that, she would be for that. And it was twisted to make it seem like she was saying that she wanted to rid the world of trans people, and that's not what she was saying. She was just saying that she would want a cure, so that way people wouldn't have to go through gender dysphoria. Now, and I know I'm getting off topic here, but, in that regard, just addressing that really quickly, I mean, obviously I'm not transgender, but I can only imagine how tough it is having that, living with gender dysphoria, growing up with gender dysphoria. I imagine that will fuck your life up a lot and make it pretty hard. And she wasn't saying that people would be, like, mandated to take it. It would just be there as an option. But, no, anyways, but you have situations like that, or like with Milo Yiannopoulos, a gay guy, he's and everything, and I'm sure you had a lot of gay people who rose up against him and called him things like homophobic. A lot of people have called him racist, even though he's literally admitted that he is attracted to black guys. He's literally married to one. He said that all of his boyfriends were black and everything. But essentially, when I hear the word token, this is what I hear. I hear social justice warriors and leftists, because typically it's the people, like I said, typically when I hear it used, it's typically those people who are using it in a derogatory sense. Because what I hear is these people, these minority groups who are starting to think for themselves, they're not allowed to do that. They have to stay in the victim mentality. They aren't allowed to have opinions of their own, or form opinions of their own, or think for themselves, or think, you know what? Maybe I'm not a perpetual victim. Maybe I do have control over my life, and maybe everyone isn't out to get me. What I hear is social justice warriors and leftists sweating under pressure when people like Milo and Blair and the people that they influence start to pop up. Because the people that they claim to fight for claim to stand for are finally waking up to their bullshit. They're looking at this more than two genders thing, they're looking at this rape culture thing, they're looking at this white privilege thing, and all these other things that have been spawned from, you know, contemporary feminism and social justice, and basically, and they're realizing that they're losing the people that they claim to be fighting for. And when they inevitably do lose people from their camp, and then they start going after those people, and when the people that were a part of that camp realize, wait, these people were never about me thinking for myself. They just wanted me to think how they thought. Because it's ironic, because I find that the real homophobes, the real transphobes, the real racists are people who are leftists and social justice warriors. Because whenever you see, you know, someone like, again, Blair White, Milo Yiannopoulos, or even Candace Owens, or Brandon Tatum, or someone like that, they get infuriated. They get infuriated, and when they try to tell them that they're a victim, and you know, people like, you know, Blair or Milo or Candace or whoever, you know, argue that no, they're not a victim, that they're their own person, you know, and they're capable of making choices, and they're capable of having accountability for themselves, the leftists and social justice warriors get infuriated. Because the cause that they claim to be fighting for is losing. Because people like this are going to inspire younger people who are also a part of the specific minority group, and they're going to be losing support for their cause. And then these people are going to wake up and see that their cause, the cause of the leftists and the social justice warriors, is nothing but a sham. It's almost like a huge cult. Because it's anything but being able to think for yourself. Because when you put contemporary feminism, modern day feminism, you know, or rape culture, or things like the wage gap, or white privilege, under any sort of scrutiny, it immediately falls apart. You know, and people like Blair White and Milo Yiannopoulos and Candace Owens and other people who have woken up to all this, you know, they see that, they realize that, and they start speaking out against and making other people wake up to the sham that is the cause that social justice and leftists are for, or support. So that's basically what goes through my mind when I hear the word token. Well, not the word token, but when a token is applied in terms of when you're talking about politics. It's basically them saying, well, this person, that's just a token person because, you know, how dare they think for themselves, and how dare they not, you know, how dare they not be a perpetual victim or claim to be a perpetual victim. You know, how dare they think for themselves and have their own opinions and actually question things. You know, like I said, it's like a cult. Because when you're in a cult and you actually start to question things, you are shut down or shouted down or punished or, you know, excommunicated completely if you keep on questioning things. So yeah. And, you know, I'd imagine that it's pretty insulting to be called a token, because it's like it's like, you know, being called a token, it's like they don't even take your opinions and what you say and consider them. It's just you're immediately written off as a token. You know, because you're not spouting off leftist social justice warrior talking points. You know, just because you might be more, you know, right-leaning, or just because you might be, you know, more Republican or conservative more than anything, or libertarian or whatever. Like I said, even classical liberal, which by today's standards would be considered conservative probably. But anyways, hopefully that made a little bit of sense. I know I kind of rambled for a little bit, but yeah, I just wanted to make a video about that phrase and, you know, how it's applied, you know, in the context of politics and stuff like that. It gets a little bit annoying after a while. But let me know what you think, and that pretty much wraps up this one up. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace, and have a good day.